Hi all, it's Eleanor again. I've been a little bit obsessed with watching 25 Bookish Facts videos recently. The 25 Bookish Facts About Me tag. And since I'm pretty new to YouTube, as you know, proved by my rather amateurish and babbling, anyway, I thought I'd do 25 Bookish Facts About Me. So here we go. Number 1, my favourite book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I love this book. I cannot even count the amount of times I've read Pride and Prejudice. Seriously, it's got to be in the hundreds. It's my mother's favourite book, and I discovered it when she sat down to watch the first episode of the 1995 BBC series when it first aired in Australia in 1996, and I watched the first episode with her, and I immediately went and picked up the book because I loved it so much, and read it 2 or 3 times within the week before the next episode. So I really love this book. Like, seriously, there will never be a book like Pride and Prejudice. It is my favourite, always and forever. Number 2, the year I turned 11 was the year I discovered both Jane Austen and Tamara Pierce, who are both my 2 favourite authors. So I was 11 when I discovered Pride and Prejudice and therefore Jane Austen, and the same year I discovered Tamara Pierce by reading the Immortals Quartet, and I love both authors, and nobody can overtake them. They're founding authors of my life. I just love them. Okay, fact number 3. My dad used to read The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien to my brothers and I when we were small, and he even drew illustrations to go with the book, and that was again a formative experience because Dad's a Tolkien fan and he got the spelling of my name from Tolkien and he read them to us and I loved it. Fact number 4, some of my earliest memories that are bookish related are sitting down on Sunday nights to watch the BBC version of the Chronicles of Narnia. This is the series that the BBC did in the late 80s and very early 90s, and it was on every Sunday night on the ABC here in Australia, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and that is, for a lot of people, Tom Baker is the Doctor. For me, Tom Baker is Puddleglum. Okay, fact number 5. I stopped reading books for about 4 or 5 years after I moved to Canberra and started working. I was still reading a lot of fan fiction, but I almost, apart from the occasional Jane Austen and Tamara Pierce reread, I pretty much completely stopped reading books. So thankfully I've gotten over it in the last few years, but that was a really weird thing to realise, that I was just not reading books anymore. Bookish fact number 6. I spent most of my late childhood and early teens reading Star Wars novels, the expanded universe, Rogue Squadron forever. I am totally a Rogue Squadron girl, and I have so many feels about Mara Jade. So, I mean, I love Star Wars and I love the new movie, but I was so nervous because, Mara Jade doesn't exist anymore, and it breaks my heart because Mara was awesome. And Rogue Squadron, like seriously, Rogue Squadron. Okay, fact number 7. Audiobooks make me fall asleep unless they're full cast audios. So if it's just one person narrating a book, then I generally fall asleep. But if it's full cast, I can listen to it. Fact number 8. My favourite genres are sci-fi and fantasy, but I'm quite fond of cruisy crime. I limit what crime I do read because it's a rabbit hole. But Agatha Christie's, Miss Marple and Poirot, and Olivia Day, and also I'm really into the Miss Fisher series at the moment. So cozy crime. Fact number 9. I didn't discover Harry Potter until my late teens. I may have been at university already. I may have first read the first book in college, which is grade 11 or 12 for non-Australians. But not until my late teens. I completely missed the start of it, and it was Harry Potter defined my university experience. 10th fact, I often go to a bookshop in my lunch break just to be surrounded by books, because I don't read in my lunch break anymore because I need to get out and get some exercise and some sunshine, particularly now it's winter and I don't see much sun at all in winter. So I go out and I often head towards bookshop, not necessarily to buy anything, just to smell the books and touch the books and look at the books, because I love books. Fact number 11. My favourite secondhand bookshop is called Book Law, and it's in Lynham, which is about a 25 to half hour walk from my flat. So it's a really nice thing to do on a weekend, is to go for a nice walk and visit my favourite secondhand bookshop. Fact number 12. I prefer watching Shakespeare to reading it. I didn't do much Shakespeare in school, mainly due to the schools I was at, but I always prefer to watch it, whether it be a movie or whether it be an actual live performance, and I love live performances. I go and see Bell Shakespeare perform regularly, but Shakespeare is made, well, they're plays, it's made to be performed, so that's the way I enjoy it. Book fact number 13. I grew up dog-earing and flattening the spines of my books, but now I use bookmarks. Mainly because, I often put down a book and then don't pick it up for another couple of weeks. So, I can't just leave. I'd lose my page if I left it lying flat down. So I use bookmarks now, but I used to dog-ear and I don't have any particular feelings against it. 14. I love rereading. Seriously. As I mentioned before, I've probably read Pride and Prejudice hundreds of times. I've read most of Tamora Pierce's books multiple times. I just love rereading. It's like a warm and cozy hug for my brain. Fact number 15. I love witty banter in books. This wasn't a big thing when I was a teenager, but as an adult, in my post-Joss Whedon, Buffy and Firefly years, I love witty banter. Witty banter's awesome. Witty banter makes me laugh. Like, Prudence by Gail Carriger. So witty, so funny. I cackled so much in that book. Fact number 16. I can see aspects of myself in all of Jane Austen's main heroines. So I think I'm fairly opinionated and stubborn in my opinions, like Lizzie. I'm given to whimsy and to making mistakes and kind of clinging to them, like Emma. I like my common sense, but I also tend to hide my emotional pain, like Eleanor. I am shy and somewhat socially awkward, like Fanny, and like Anne, I hold on to my feelings. If I love someone, I hold it on tight even after it's gone. So yeah, I see myself in most of Jane Austen's heroines. Number 17. As a teenager, I borrowed a Monica Seles autobiography from the library, and it had such an effect on me. Like, it was a hugely emotional read, and this was before her comeback, The Ten Spies is. But I have never been able to find that book again. Never. Like, I keep looking for it in secondhand bookshops and in libraries, and I cannot find it. I honestly cannot find it, and it breaks my heart because I would love to read it again. Okay, so we're looking for number 18. I constantly have anything up to 10 books on my currently reading shelf on Goodreads. Mostly these days because it depends on what mood I'm in, and I can pick up a book, start it, put it down, and then I won't be in the mood for it for a while. And some of them are non-fiction books, which I can only take in small doses sometimes. And sometimes there's an audio book as well, or an ebook. There's stuff on my ebook. There's short fiction, there's long fiction. Yeah, so I've often got anywhere between sort of 7 and 10 currently reading books on that shelf on Goodreads. Number 19. This year's Dewey's 24-hour readathon was my first readathon since I was a child, doing the MS readathon, which I did a number of years in a row when I was in primary school. Fact number 20. Despite the fact that my dad is a church minister, so I spent my childhood and teenage years in church, it was only when I was an adult and it was pointed out to me that I realised the Chronicles of Narnia was a religious allegory. Seriously, somehow I completely missed it. And I don't know how. It's completely obvious now that I know about it. But I completely missed that religious allegory in the Chronicles of Narnia. It's ridiculous. 21. I have 1-year-old twin nephews, and I have been buying them books since before they were born because, I will do anything to encourage my nephews to read. even though they, can't read yet. But my brother and my sister-in-law can read to them. Okay, 22. I'm a member of the Dimmicks Book Lovers Club. Dimmicks is one of the chain bookstores here. And I buy so many books that I rack up quite a bit of credit on my membership, which means, fairly maybe 3 or 4 times a year I get some very cheap books, which is good because that's what it's for, because I do buy a lot of books, both for me and my nephews. Fact number 23, my guilty pleasure in reading is Jane Austen variations and sequels. This is basically Jane Austen fan fiction, and I read a lot of fan fiction in various fandoms. But because Jane Austen is completely out of copyright, they can be sold. So my Kindle is kind of full of, whimsical and not always particularly, well written, but variations and sequels. So things like Jean Sims's A Tapestry of Lives, where everything changes when Mr. Bennet reads the letter that Mr. Darcy wrote to Elizabeth, and A Companion for My Future Life, where an accidental happenstance fixes Mr. Collins' attention on Mary before he proposes to Elizabeth, and so everything kind of changes when Mary marries Mr. Collins. Yet, in all of these, it eventually turns out well. But I love them, they're kind of my crack. And 24, I'm actively avoiding the romance genre, not because I don't like it, but because it'll be a rabbit hole I will go down and never get out of, and my TBR pile is already enormous. So I'm kind of actively avoiding straight romance and historical romance so that, my TBR doesn't get completely ridiculous. One day I will start reading romance. And fact 25, my interest in Tudor history. I have an interest in Tudor history, and it stems from reading Noel Streatfeild's Gemma books when I was a child. And in the first book, I think it is, Gemma plays the role of Lady Jane Grey in a play at school. And I have been utterly fascinated by the Nine Dane Queen ever since. So, it's nothing I've ever really followed up, but let's just say I'm really looking forward to reading My Lady Jane, because Lady Jane Grey, I love her. I think she's amazing. I think she was a victim of her circumstances, and she could have been an amazing queen, and she was an amazing person, and that's why I love Tudor history. So that was 25 bookish facts about me. I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you all know a little bit more about me now and the way that I read. And I'll see you again soon.